Garage, I'm Andy Phillips. We're back here in the garage working on the Countach project. Today we actually start the whole pop-up headlight assembly part of this whole restoration project. So let's go ahead and get started. What we're dealing with here, and you can see it in the video, you see part of the tubular frame, the square tubing coming through right here. There's one on each side, and basically they're coming up underneath the fenders here, going just at that angle like that. When this particular replica was made, it did not have the pop-up headlights. They opted to put the headlights in here, I guess, to save cost. So this is something all new that I'm adding here. So we're gonna have to take a cut-off tool, cut approximately 6 to 7 inches off of this frame here, cut that opening, so that way the headlight assembly has the proper space to tuck in. At a later time, we'll come in, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reroute this frame and weld a piece on an angle that's gonna go down and back over, kind of taking the shape, so that way when the headlight assembly goes in, it has that section of the frame notched to that shape where it can go in. Maybe we can put a gusset on there for extra reinforcement, but that's gonna be for another time. So for today, we're gonna go ahead and cut this out. Then I'm gonna go ahead and get a template made of this side so that we have the right angle right here. And off that template, then I'm gonna go ahead and just do a flat cut side kind of model of the pop-up assembly so we can see how it needs to hinge properly to tuck in and to be level, and in order for it to work the way it needs to. From there, once we get that corrected, then I'm going to go ahead and make a full-scale 3-dimensional cardboard mock-up that we can then put in here, see how that fits, see that it all works fine. Once that's all been confirmed, I'll then take it back to my other place where we'll then remake the whole thing out of aluminum and prime it, and then we can come back, mount the two brackets that get mounted to here with the rod for it to hinge on, and then we'll then connect the motors, wire everything up, and that'll all be good. Sounds like a quick process, but that's actually going to probably take a few weeks to get all that completed. But for today, the main thing is just to cut this stuff out of the way so we have a full opening, so we can then make the 3D mock-up, and that'll wrap it up here for today. And then the next time will be at my other place where we will then make the actual assemblies, the finished product out of aluminum, so we can then bring it back, prime it, and then start getting it all mounted in here. So let's go ahead and get a close-up. I'll show you what we're going to do, and then let's start cutting. You can see here's the frame coming here. Also have a little remnant here that has to be cut off. But basically, if you see it here from the side, everything that you're seeing through this opening has to go, because that's where the assembly has to go in. You can see the frame right here. Probably cut it right about here, and then cut it all across here. And then we also need to get rid of this stuff right here. This is really not serving any purpose anyway. There's no structural integrity to that. So I need to get rid of that. Move the air horns out of the way. This side's not too bad right there. Let's head over to the other side. That one's got some electrical wires that need to be moved as well. Here on this side, you can see here, this electric is going right through here. We need to cut that out, move the electric over along with this other electric, which this is electric that I ran when I was redoing some of the electrical on this vehicle when we started. So all that has to be contained anyway. Right now it's just kind of loose, but that's all going to be all grouped together properly when we're done. But for now, need to move this, that electric and that, get them out of the way. And the same as the other side, we're going to go ahead and cut here and then cut down there to give us that opening for the assembly. And then, as mentioned a few minutes ago, and then at a later time, we're going to reconnect the frame, but going under the assembly. So let's go ahead and get the cutoff tool rolling and get them out of there. Everything has been cut out. You can see the frame up there where we cut it, and then down in here. So as far as this opening that we needed, this is all nice and open. We cleaned all that out. Now I'm just going to take a grinder, just kind of smooth all that back, and then we're going to have to test it with a template and make sure that that's enough space, because I'm kind of limited to what I have to work with here. I can trim this back a little bit if need be. So we'll take a look at that. This side's all cleaned up, got everything gutted out. Went ahead with the grinder, smoothed everything. I think I have enough room to do it. We'll see when we actually create the template. Nicked a little bit of the edges here, so I just need to touch that up before we wrap up today. Getting ready to move on to this side. Have to do some cutting to free up the electrical lines and everything else that's going on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and get that all ready, and then we're going to start cutting in here. Here's a better close-up. You can see what I'm dealing with. So we're going to cut into this metal plate here so we can free up this so I can get the electrical out of there. And then there's some electrical running down here on the actual square tube frame. So we got to get that off. And just free up all this here. Here's the back. You can see right there we go. That's better. Here's the back of the turn signal light. So I need to get that removed and just clear everything in here, and then we can start cutting and clearing all this junk out. Just cut in here on both sides of this. There we go. On this electric. There we go. Got it. Now we can move that out of the way so we can do our thing. Everything has been cut free. This wire that was mounted onto the frame has been cut loose. We got this out just here where we cut it, so that's been moved. So now we have clear access to do what we need to do to clear all that out. And then we can put the wires back once everything is done. Just finished clearing all this out, grinding it down afterwards just to smooth it out pretty good. Everything's been cleared out. Next thing that we're going to do now is go ahead and make the template for it, so we can then put that 3D mock-up out of cardboard in there, make sure everything sets fine. Then I just need to touch up a couple spots here where the blade nicked here on the sides of the body here. We'll patch that up, and then we'll call it a day. Everything's all cleared out in here. You can see there. All that, the framing, there's pieces here of the wheel well that were there. We cleared all that out. All the wires been pushed over. So now we have a very clear shot, as you can see there, for the headlight assembly to go in. I went ahead and I created just a template here matching the side so I could basically see how the pop-up headlight assembly has to work. So this is what I have here. And I've got it matched up here where it lines up with the edge of this contour. And then we have the markings here for the space where the pop-up headlights will be able to come through. And this is pretty much the shape I have. It'll be hinged here, and that'll then enable it to clear and then pop up how it needs to right there. So now that we have this in place and everything is measured well, I'm going to go ahead and create that 3D mock-up out of cardboard, and then we'll be back to set it in there and see how that fits and then wrap this up. I just finished building this mock-up here. It's a little bit rough, but had an issue with the glue, but basically this is it right here. We're gonna go ahead and test it. If it fits fine, then I'm gonna take it back, and we're gonna go ahead and pretty much make this entire assembly out of aluminum, and then get this top piece all finished, put on top of it. That'll be lightly sanded down. Everything will then be primed so it can be painted with the body. So we have everything in here. Let's go ahead and slide it in and make sure it fits. Perfect. Fits in there perfect. got a little bit of a gap here, but that's because it's not hinged in there yet. Once we go ahead and make it out of aluminum, then I'll go ahead and I'll mount the two brackets inside. That'll have the area where that'll be able to swing and hinge. That'll keep that all nice and stable. Then all we have to do then is just connect the motor up to it, get that all set up properly with the switches so that way we can open it, close it, turn the headlights off and on. So I'm going to go ahead and get a close up and let's see how it swings up and down, make sure that there's no obstructions. Everything is set in here. I'm going to go ahead and raise it out so we can see how it's going to open and close. And you can see here it's got a very tight fit, but it's not going to be that tight because along this edge where we cut it, that's all been finished on the body. It was never finished on the lid yet, so that's going to be sanded down, nice and smooth, finished off, primed. It's not going to be as tight of a fit. You're going to have a little bit of a gap in there so that way it's not going to be so hard. But basically what will happen, you have it here on the hinge. When you turn the headlights on, this will open up like this. Come out like that. You'll have the two lamps in here, 5 3/4, 5 3/4. That'll be all nice and aluminum. It'll have a beveled edge going around it. Everything nice and tight. Turn the headlights off. This thing will drop right down in like this and go right back in. Okay, well that pretty much wraps up this time in the garage working on this project here, starting the pop-up headlight assemblies. This was the kind of the big starting point here because this required us to cut out the areas around the frame and clear out in there where the assemblies will go. Making this basic mock-up was also a big step in this because now what I can do is I can go ahead and make it out of aluminum. We'll get that all ready. Next time we come back in the garage, we'll have the aluminum pieces. We'll go ahead and sand them down, prime them, make sure that they still fit. If there's any minor modifications that need to be done, we'll go ahead and do that to get them ready, get them in place, and then we can start mounting the actual brackets that are going to go on both sides, and we can put the rods in there to where this will swing on, get that in place. We'll get the motors mounted. We'll actually get them ordered first. Then we'll go ahead and get them mounted, get everything wired up, make sure it's all working, wire up the bulbs, and then we'll move on here to the turn signals here. You can see they're very faded. They need to be recoated in an orange, so we're going to go ahead and recoat them, get that all set. Also here, this is going to have to be cut out as well. This needs to be widened about 1.5 inches, so we're going to go ahead and cut that out, move this inner wall right here, bend that more on an angle, and then go ahead and finish that all nice. Take care of that. We'll move on underneath to the front spoiler that goes underneath, make that. And then at that point, I think we're ready to start painting the car. We'll go ahead and paint it, clear coat it, then we'll move on to the suspension, get that wrapped up. But while we're talking about the suspension, probably in about a week, I'll be ordering the replacement front tires since the ones that are on there now are falling apart, plus they're also the wrong size. So we'll get those ordered. So we're coming along on approaching the finish line very quickly. I'm excited to finally get this thing done, get it on the road. That'll be awesome. So please send me any questions, any comments. I hope this video was informative. I hope it was great for you to watch and entertaining. As always, I appreciate all of the support. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.